What do you think thought about our project?
That it was a mess, honestly, that it was never going to get finished, that our team was a mess, that I was doing a bad job. I think that a lot of times definitely thought that we were bullshitting them because we wouldn't have this thing to show or we wouldn't have this other thing to show. We were spending so much time in the Excite Center. I would go there and work and work and work and then show up to a meeting with and just have them treat me like I was a little kid who was trying to get something by them. That was definitely frustrating for me because in the past I have bullshitted to my professors exceedingly. But with this project, I was actually working really hard. So it was really frustrating to be treated like that. And I don't know if it was because we didn't have enough progress to show them or if it was because I had a reputation of being a bad student. But like, I definitely didn't feel like they were giving us the benefit of the doubt when that was what we were repeatedly asking for.
One second. Yeah. Yeah. No, hold on. Give me like 20 minutes. Yeah. All right. Let me see. I'm sorry. So like, I guess anything. What are you saying? So like anything I want to say or like.
When the idea for this project came about, I was living in Greece. I was doing my Drexel co-op there, so I was kind of out of touch with everyone, and I was a little bit nervous about senior project because I knew that plans were probably being made and I was out of the country, and honestly, I had made very little effort to be that involved with my major, so I wasn't really that connected with anyone. But I was friends with Jordan, so I texted him and I asked him if he knew what was going on, because I literally, like, I had no idea what was going on. So he called me and we talked, and we were talking about how we were tired of making websites and apps, and we felt like we wanted to do more with our careers and that this was an opportunity to do something different.
We were so frustrated with things that people associate with technology, like Facebook and Instagram and these different algorithms that are set up to kind of make people miserable.
The conversations kind of veered in the direction of doing some type of museum exhibition thing that was going to like educate people on some type of issue, and there would be interactive components.
When what they're expecting us to do is some kind of app or game. Basically, if you're not doing an app or a game, it has to have some kind of educational quality.
We were going to be building something that served some type of functional purpose.
We were talking about that, and it was just like, well, how much time is this research going to take, and how long is it going to take to actually build this exhibit? How are we going to make it interactive? Is this too much work? And I think we both came to a point where we're like, yeah, that's a lot of work.
In one of our conversations, I mentioned that my ultimate goal for after college and with my career was to work on purely artistic exhibits.
She mentioned she'd gone to like an exhibit called Team Lab Borderless, and she sent me a video of it, and it was like super colorful and interactive. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. It was otherworldly. And she mentioned when sending that video that she wanted to do stuff like that as her career. And I was like, why don't we just do that? Or why don't we just try to do something close to that? That looks like a lot more fun than trying to make it educational.
But I didn't think of this as a possibility for senior project.
She said, they're not gonna let us do that.
We're not art majors, we're designers.
Design has to work to serve some kind of purpose. Art doesn't have to.
I didn't think that it was realistically an option for us to do something like this.
I didn't really think it would happen either.
But he called me back at one point and was like, why don't we try it?
What's the worst that's going to happen? We might as well try to do the thing we want to do because maybe they will get on board, you know? Maybe other people will like it.
I was like, okay, I mean, I want to do it because that's what I want to do.
And I really liked proving her wrong. And it became my mission to figure out how to meet the requirements by July 31st.
You know, if you had a say in like what you want people to remember when they watch this documentary about this project that we worked for so long on, what would you want that one takeaway to be?
Okay. Yo, that's a tough question. I hope this documentary can show you a raw story of what's happening to us and to this year related to what's happening right now, the pandemic. I mean, shooting a documentary was not our... Yo, can you just repeat the question? When I first heard of this project is from Jordan.
I texted Jordan
saying, oh yeah,
what projects are you working on? And he proposed an idea.
Something different than like application or game.
This project was more focused on a physical space rather than just a simple screen.
Build something really like our installation.
Something like Team Lab, which I thought was very interesting because as an IDM major, we typically work on apps and websites.
I wanted to do something beyond just phone screens and laptop screens because that's what we always do in our classes.
So I thought this would be a great opportunity to do something different.
This was very interesting and I really wanted to join this project because I thought this would really enhance my UX design skills.
Plus we got Alex who just got off from co-op at Gris working on the museum. So that will be exciting to get in your team to make this happen.
Oh, baby, triple!
Why did we choose the name Ethereal?
We settled with that one because it captured the vibe of what we wanted to do pretty well. We didn't know what exactly it was. We just knew it was going to be beautiful.
T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery.
The first time that I heard about Ethereal,
I can remember it pretty clearly. I was at my desk at my internship.
I was looking through all the projects, and a lot of them were kind of the standard
Local company that wants some application or something to be created, so they ask senior design students to do it. Make an app or make a game.
work for another company, gonna do work for them, and
I wasn't sure which team to go.
I wanted to do something a little bit different.
I saw this ETHEREAL project where they were recruiting.
looking for developers to help with their project. And then they were kind of talking about like an interactive art experience, and it sounded interesting. It's something that I've never done before.
This was something totally new that was just completely different.
Doing something that gets people together and brings in a group of people to kind of work together, and something that's different from the run-of-the-mill software engineering project at Drexel interested me and thought it was a challenging idea to get involved with.
Three of our team members was from people referring this project to other people.
That's why I actually asked friends like Vivienne to join with me.
She was like, are you in the senior design group? And I'm like, no. And she's like, you want to join mine? And I'm like, sure.
I heard it from Vivienne. She told me that they need more developers, so
I heard this project by Kidist.
it was very exciting. I have never heard of a project like that. Most of the things we do is like hardware, so I did not think of working with some art.
Houston. This is Apollo 7.
I thought it was super cool.
Immediately right away, I kind of fell in love with the whole ethereal project.
Just because I really do love interactive art space kind of things.
I love the whole aesthetic that I had to go with it. The music I make is a bit of a combination of hip hop, trap, rap, R&B, mixed with the sound design and the sound production you would see in EDM. You put those things together, and I like to say I make space music.
Ball drum was the hardest one for us.
I remember it being chaotic. That's like the one word I would use to describe how the fall quarter went, was like chaotic.
It was just a lot because we had so many ideas.
We couldn't even decide about a major theme for the project.
I was trying to do too much for sure. I know that I really wanted everything to be like perfect and I really wanted to follow the right steps, but we didn't actually know what those steps were. We would have an idea and then like we would go back to the drawing board and then we would have an idea, and I know that it was frustrating members on the team.
We were kind of lost. I mean, I was lost.
Because we spent 5 or 6 weeks just deciding what we were going to do.
I was at one meeting early on, right after I joined, and they were like, this is gonna be our first actual creative meeting. And then the whole time it was just the advisor being like, I don't understand, what's the idea? People were on the whiteboard trying to put stuff down, and I was just kind of like there. Because like, I was coming in thinking that like, oh, here's an idea and they're gonna go with this. And then all of a sudden the advisor's like, that's not a good enough idea.
We wanted to create something that would be beautiful, but as a senior project, we needed something to be more than just beautiful.
We came up with that like mission statement that they made us come up with because they felt that since we had a UX background, we needed to have some type of problem statement to design for, even though we were trying to build an art exhibit, which inherently doesn't have a problem statement to design for. It's an art exhibit, but told us that we're not art students and we're bad artists and we had to come up with a problem statement. So we did, and it was that we wanted people to have a moment to step out of the busyness of Philly life and into this kind of oasis thing where they could, you know, feel calm and meditative, and that a good problem statement, you have to have a way to measure whether or not you were successful in achieving that goal. So we were like, well, we can measure whether or not people were calm if we somehow embed the use of biosensors into the space. And then I think everyone was just kind of like excited about that idea because it seems like an obvious thing to use heart rate sensors in an immersive exhibition, but I have yet to come across an example of it being done before. In the beginning, we were still having a lot of meetings. The meetings were really frustrating for me. I felt like people weren't excited. Like I was trying to extract something from everyone and I was having a really difficult time getting it. So at some point during the winter term, I was just like, we're not doing the meetings anymore. I'll message you what you need to be working on. I will be at work basically from 9 to 5 most days. Come talk to me if you're confused about what you're meant to be working on. Come give me updates, but we're not going to do big meetings anymore.
I was the one who was conducting most of the usability testings. We got some pretty good insights from them, which helped a lot for our project. It's so hard to test a project like this. And it was also so hard to recruit people and take them to the Excite Center. If I told them it's going to take 15 minutes, it actually always took more than that because the setup of this project takes a long time.
All the other people were coming from like a user experience background where you're trying to sculpt somebody's experience and you're trying to figure out like, oh, we want people to feel this way, so we're going to do this. From the world I'm come from, that's not really something you take into consideration. It's straight up just like, okay, which mic sounds best? It felt really beautiful to be a part of a team that was trying to do something for the user as opposed to with recording music where it's very, this is my art and I want it to be like this.
There was one night where I literally stayed in the studio all night long trying to build the alpha. I had almost no familiarity with Touchdesigner. I basically learned Touchdesigner and built the visuals for the alpha prototype in one night. It was really hard. I came to an advisor meeting and she was just like, this isn't good enough. And I was like, yes, it is. It has to be. I basically figured out how to make a style guide for an immersive exhibition, which it was like, I didn't have any example to use. I've never worked on a game before, so it wasn't even like I knew how to put together an art Bible or whatever. I came up with a whole system that would have allowed everyone to work in Touchdesigner simultaneously, building out these visuals and had them still look cohesive, which is hard. Like, how do you coordinate the actions of 6 different artists? And I thought I made a huge step, huge progress, and it took me all night. And then I showed up to that meeting. I don't even think she looked at it. We had like a demo day after that, and I had like a panic attack in the urban lobby. I was so mad that it triggered my fight or flight response. Like, so that was definitely a low point.
One of my biggest takeaways from this project is not to be scared to dive into something that I don't know anything about. Before I started this project, I had very little experience with this, and I think I told Jordan at the start of it that I didn't know how to develop with Touchdesigner or heart rate sensors, and he's like, hey man, that's cool. He's like, we'll try and figure it out along the way, and I think we did, and it was a really exciting project to be a part of, and realized that it's possible to do something like this.
Towards the end of the winter quarter, Jordan and I were the only ones who were very comfortable using Touchdesigner. It got to the point where even if people were learning it, the thing I was building was way too complicated for really other people to help with. They just had to like trust me.
The number of people infected by a mysterious respiratory virus has more than tripled over the weekend, most of them in Wuhan, where the outbreak originated.
There is also now a confirmed case in the city of Philadelphia. And city officials say that they are doing all that they can to try and prevent the spread of the virus.
I'm John Fry, president of Drexel University. I can assure you that Drexel students will find it just as rewarding and challenging as any course taught in a classroom setting.
Be prepared for things to happen.
When the whole virus came to America,
Basically, it put our project to a halt.
We couldn't really get together anymore.
we can't test with people. We obviously can't throw a live event.
How are we even gonna do it? We literally can't.
Other projects such as like creating a game, they can do it at home. They can just use code and they can just like meet at Zoom. I'm not saying that they're easy projects, but they can at least have the final product.
Honestly, it feels pretty terrible and shitty. And that's why this term I haven't really done anything. I've just been depressed.
There was a lot of things that I was looking forward to that didn't happen.
I don't know when I'm gonna have an opportunity like this again.
At the end of the day, we still need to turn something in.
To put effort into finishing this project just to get my degree feels like a slap in the face. I just don't want to do it. Like, honestly, like, I just want to like lay in bed and like be sad until this is over. But they like want me to do college and I don't want to. I feel like you want a different kind of answer, right? I don't know, I'm trying to think. What did I learn from this process? Doing this project, we see that there's just different language for the same concepts in all fields of design. What are these things that we're doing? What is a wireframe? What is a style guide? What are you trying to communicate with that information? And how do you forget all prior associations that you have with that and break it down to what is it trying to accomplish and apply it to a completely different kind of design it gives you the ability to work in almost any field of design as long as you are adaptable. And that's definitely because of this project. So yeah, I would say that's the number one thing.